All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Dolan, and today we'll be discussing on maintaining focus. And I have some beautiful faces over here from the right.
Itemi.
Kashokwe.
Amariolua. And together we'll be discussing on maintaining focus. What does it really mean to maintain focus, and how do you maintain focus? Even if you are maintaining focus, how do you know that you're actually maintaining focus? So these are the things that we'll be discussing, in depth today. So before we go ahead, let me just give you a brief icebreaker into what we have to discuss today. A whole lot of things are actually designed to actually get our attention and actually distract us from the main thing, from the main purpose, right? The books, ranging from the books to the shows, to the social media platform, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, now TikTok, and all of them are actually designed, more like to distract us or to get our attention, from the main thing that we actually meant to be doing, right? So this man, Mr. Wilson, said something in some years back, right? So he said the quote, and I'll just ask you guys what you think about, when he actually said it and what you think about the quote itself. All right, so it goes this way. We live in an age disturbed, confused, bewildered, afraid of its own forces, in search not merely of its road, but even of its direction. There are many voices of counsel, but few voices of vision. There is much excitement and feverish activities, but little thoughtful purposes. We are distressed by our ungoverned, undirected energies, and we do many things, but nothing long. It is our duty to find ourselves. You tell me, when do you think this one said this?
I'm going to guess like 2005.
2005, you?
I would say 20 or 30 years ago.
20, 30 years ago. Kashoka, what do you think?
Sounds like something someone said yesterday.
Actually, we asked this same question on our WhatsApp group, and people said 2010, 2015. Some people said last year, and all of that. Actually, this one said this in 1907. That was over 100 years ago, right? And if you look at this statement, it's actually more like very, very true. In our own time right now, considering the fact that then there was no WhatsApp, there was no this, there was no that. We have a lot more reason to be distracted right now. So let's get down into the discussion right away.
All right, so the first question or discussion is, what do you think Mr. Wilson will say about our own generation?
Okay, considering the fact that it was like 100 years ago, I don't think that they literally didn't have anything. Like, they didn't have phones, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have social media and all of that. So like, the amount of like distractions that we have, the amount of tools we have has like quadrupled since that time, So I can only imagine like what he will say about our time now. It's more distracting and
I think this was pre-internet era, right?
Exactly.
Like way like pre-internet era, before the .com bubble and all of those things. So there was no social media, there was no internet, right?
Probably no phones.
Probably no phone, right? And you could say something as, I believe this one was actually more like way ahead of his time. You get, and also I believe there's always been distractions around, so I believe they had their own form of distractions also.
Yeah.
So distraction did not just start today, right? But we are just more like 100 times more distracted, than the guys, of the oldies. Yeah. All right, so Morire, in this age and during this COVID time of no school, no social distancing, and what are teenagers worried about and confused about?
Okay, for me, I would say teenagers are worried about their health because nobody knows how this coronavirus is going to end. And they're probably going to be worried about school because federal government has not yet said anything about when schools are going to resume. And even if we resume, like, it will feel weird because we've been at home for like, I would say close to about 3 months now, doing probably online school. So it will be weird talking to your friends again. Okay. What teenagers are confused about, one, their identity, because they don't even know what to do. They are literally confused about what to do at this time right now. And probably their purpose, because they're still trying to find out and trying to build their relationship with God and everything.
Awesome. What are you confused about?
Yeah, confused about. What am I? Let me say teenagers generally.
No, just personalize this.
It's about. I think confusion comes with like the amount of things that are out there and the amount of skills to learn and stuff like that. So basically, I think it can be confusing at times if you don't know what you have to do. So that's why, I mean, we're talking about focusing now. Is there's a lot of things to do, so you have to be like determined and know what you actually want to do, because it can be confusing with the amount of things that are outside.
Yeah, I definitely believe that, like, the information bombardment, like, it's like you have so much, there's so much going on, there's so many skills to learn, there's Coursera, there's Udemy, there's so many things, there's so many internet resources, and like, you're just like, okay, so what do I do? And like, for someone like me, that I'm all over the place, and there's so many things that I love doing, there's so many things I enjoy doing, and there's so many things I can't do. So it's like, are you like, what am I going to do this or am I going to do that? Like, which of these things? So I think the information is confusing in itself. So if you don't have that focus, like, okay, this is what I want to do, then you can just get overwhelmed and confused with everything that's happening.
So basically, we have more like a whole lot of choices.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the confusion is more like in what to select, what to pick.
Exactly. And then the thing is, like, when you are confused by a lot of decisions and then you end up not making any decision at the end of the day.
course,
That's
yeah.
also true. And then you don't make progress at the end.
I think that's very right. All right. Cash.
Okay, so the next question, what will make a teenager feel fulfilled in this time?
For me, fulfillment comes with like progress and actually doing things that you want to do. So doing things that make you happy, doing things that make you, fulfilled. Being productive in general brings fulfillment, basically. So achieving things you want to achieve, achieving set goals, not wasting your time. Those are the things that bring fulfillment, basically.
Yeah.
Maria, what makes you fulfilled?
Okay. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's just things what you want to do at part time. So it's things that you like doing that will make you feel. So
Okay.
like that.
All right.
Alright.
Cash.
So yeah, I definitely agree with what everyone has said, and something like he said, productivity is something that makes us feel fulfilled. It's something that makes us feel good about ourselves. But let's not forget that even just resting, resting can make you feel fulfilled. Spending time with your family can make you feel fulfilled. Good conversation with your friends can make you feel fulfilled. So let's not just focus on, okay, we're going to make progress, but you can make progress in resting. You can make progress in enjoying conversations with your family. You can make progress by watching a good movie. So also just enjoying yourself is fulfilling in itself. We have a Bible passage here, and it says, even the strong and the wealthy grow weak and hungry, but those who passionately pursue the Lord will never lack any good thing. Psalms 34, verse 10. So we can see here that pursuing the Lord, spending time with God, spending time praying, those are things that also make you feel fulfilled. That's where true fulfillment comes from at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's very, very right. You were talking about progress. You used some 3 words for us the other time.
Focus, vision, and progress. 3 of them are like a combination. They all go together. Because focus, you're trying to achieve something and you don't want to be distracted by anything. Vision, you're trying to plan ahead, like what you want to do when you get there. And progress, like how you see your life back then and how you have achieved.
So I think 3 of those things actually more like contributes to our fulfillment.
Yeah.
And all of that. That's right. All right. So the next question will be, there are so many voices of counsel these days, right? And how many voices of counsel are really needed?
Okay, I don't want to say this in general, but I feel like you don't really need that much voices, because like the ultimate voice you actually need is God.
Yeah.
But you could also like have mentors and people you like, your role models and people like you look up to. So you could also listen to them, but like they have to influence you positively, not negatively.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we should listen to the voice of God. Like, there are so many speakers out there now, and it's easy to listen to. Like, it can be confusing. Ultimately, like when you listen to too many things, it can be confusing. And for me, I have an example. Basically, I used to listen to like a lot of speakers. I told Bolam about this earlier. I listen to a lot of speakers, basically, and all these speakers that say like the education system is nonsense, don't focus on academics, build a skill, build businesses and stuff like that. Like, school is nonsense and all those kind of speakers. So basically, at home, I'm usually like, Mom, I don't want to go to school. Like, I'm not going to university. And I usually say, and she doesn't listen to me. Like, she just thinks like this one does not know what he's saying. And then I keep on saying it. I kept on saying it. And at some point, she just got vexed. And she was like, what are you saying? Like, you don't listen to these speakers. You should be able to filter out like what you hear from these speakers. Like, you have no choice. You are going to school. So the one that you are saying you are not going to school, you better go and find something else to say. Like, literally, like, you are going to school. So find something. So I had to, it was a point that she made me realize that ultimately it's only God that knows your life. It's only God. All these speakers don't know your life. They're just saying from their perspective and their story, basically. So you have to be able to ask God to be able to, and you have to filter out what is important and what's not important from the speakers that are talking, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the end of the day, like we have said, ultimately, it is the voice of God that is the most important. It is from hearing the voice of God, it's from hearing what God has in store from you, it's from talking to God that you can discern, okay, this is for me, this is not for me. When someone is saying something that's completely out of line, then you know, okay, this is not it. Yeah. So it's, at the end of the day, it all trickles down from hearing from God. And we should also like know that God actually speaks to us through people. So it's still the voice of God, but through other people. So it is the most important voice and the predominant one. The thing that we should be listening to the most is the voice of God, and then the voice of God through people.
Okay, so Eitem, you talked about mentors, right? So how do you select mentors to listen to? Because right now there's actually a whole lot of noise out there. You know, even the full-time talkers, you know, they are not doing anything with their lives. They're just, you know, giving advice, but because, you know, they sound like they're actually doing something behind the scene. So you don't really know who is who. So how do you filter out the fake from the real?
For me, first of all, let me like highlight the importance of having a mentor for me. Like, basically, having a mentor kind of like, it keeps you on your toes, basically, if I'm to say that. Because you see somebody that's already achieving the things, like, basically, that leads us to like how to find a mentor. How to find a mentor? You find people that are where you want to achieve they have achieved what you want to achieve. Basically, they have what it is that you are looking for. Basically, so when you look at people that have what you have what you want to have, so basically you can relate it to your time, and you're like, there's basically, you can't sleep because like you can't like rest because you know that's where you're going and you have to like keep on. So having a mentor, it like motivates you to keep doing more, you know. And to find a mentor, you have to look for people that are where you want to go, and then you have to make sure that they are not just like saying nonsense and stuff like that.
Maria, how do you select your mentors or who to listen to?
First you have to listen to them and see what they're actually saying is important. If you notice what they are saying is actually important, then you can start to pick out them from there. Then afterwards, you know, like, how do I say this now? You, in the light of perspective, like you see if they're trying to influence you positively or negatively. They influence you positively, then you pick them. Then you now see their achievements of what they have done back then, and you see if they are done something very great, then you can now pick them.
I think one of the voices we should also listen to as teenagers should be that of our parents. Like Eitem was saying that, you know, your mom was saying, you have to go to school and all of that. So I think that's very, very important because, you know, your parents want the best for you and, you know, they're actually more like a gift from God, you get. So the Bible verse that relates to that would be Ecclesiastes 12, verse 12 to 13. It says, but regarding anything beyond this, dear friend, go easy. There is no end to publishing of book, and constant study wears you out. So you are no good for anything else. The last and the final word is this: fear God and do what it tells you. I think that basically explains itself, right? All right.
All right. The next question is, how does having a vision help us remain focused despite many distractions?
Okay, having a vision. For me, having a vision is like, it's kind of like, it helps to guide you, basically. Having a vision guides you. Because when you know what you want, basically, you're not like, you don't listen to other voices, basically, that tell you. For example, if I want to read 2 chapters of a book today, I block out time, maybe an hour or 2 hours, you know, that I want to read this book, basically. And then if somebody tells me, like, guy, let's come and play, or let's come and do this, I know that I want to finish reading this particular amount of chapters, you know, so I'm able to, like, discern between what to do and what not to do, and basically stay focused and avoid distractions.
What about you?
Oh, okay. I've already explained this. Like vision, focus, and progress are
Okay.
three things that already go together. So, one, focus is what you want to achieve, and like you don't get distracted by people who want to bring you down. Vision is like when you're trying to plan ahead and see what you want to do when you get there. And progress is like looking back on what you have done and the achievements you have fulfilled.
Wait, but what does vision actually mean? What does it mean? Because we use that word like almost every time. By default now we use the word vision. What does it mean, Kasho? But do you want to shed more light?
Vision, basically, what vision is supposed to be is a goal. It's where it's what you see. You see yourself doing eventually, and so vision is basically where you're going. And so focus is important in vision because it is basically how you get there. Because if you for example, you're trying to get to Lagos and you get to the car park and you're hearing the bus going to, somebody is saying bus is going to Abeokuta, somebody is saying bus is going to Ojo, somebody is saying bus is going to one place that you're not going. You can get distracted and you're like confused, and because you don't know where you're going, you can just enter a bus going to Abeokuta for absolutely no reason. But if you know, okay, I'm going to Lagos, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to get to, this is what I want to do there, then you will immediately hear, okay, this is a bus going to Lagos. You will go to that bus, if that makes sense. So vision is extremely important when it comes to focus, because you cannot be focused if you don't have a vision. You will just be, okay, as one wind is blowing, you're going in that direction. So it's incredibly important that you know where you're going so that you can get there and you can focus on getting there.
For me, I think vision is more like a destination, right?
Yes.
Of where you want to end up. Let's say in 20 years,
Yeah.
in 10 years, where you see yourself in the next
Can
5
even be
years.
tomorrow.
You can even be tomorrow, exactly. But why we actually need I think we need focus, right, for vision, because we need focus for vision, and we actually need vision for focus also.
Okay.
So it more like goes hand in hand. Okay, so let me just put that in perspective. So if let's say you are going somewhere, you have a destination you want to get to, and this is a place you've actually never been before.
Okay.
Right. So you've never been there before, and you don't have any tour guide or anybody directing you to go somewhere. So focus is more like you have a roadmap, right? You have a roadmap more like, okay, when you get to so turn right, when you get to so turn left and all that. So that more like fast track your journey. Yeah, that way you won't end up where you don't want to go to, and you won't have time wandering around and doing the things you are not supposed to do. So focus more like bring us back to our vision, and more like vision also more like helps with focus. All right. So the next thing will be we've mentioned that already. So the next question will be and this is directed to Murray. How can teenagers begin to build long-lasting relationships that will actually help actually matter in light of eternity?
Okay, for me, anything that has to do with eternity has to be with God. So, one, if you want to build your life in eternity, life after death, meaning that you have to avoid distractions, like one, like you could plan a to-do list or something like that. Then, like you pick out the important things, what you want to do. Like now, you could put your phone on, what they call it. You could put on silent and like don't allow them to. Like you can pray for 2 hours, meditate on the word, then read the Bible and everything. So it's talking about the eternity is just like how to build your relationship with God when you get there.
Okay, so relationship with God,
Yeah.
right? Any thoughts?
Yeah, basically your relationship with God is important. Your lifestyle, how you live your life, evangelizing to people that don't know the word of God, basically. So yeah.
Kashope? Anything?
Yeah, your relationship with God is what will matter in the light of eternity. And like reading your Bible, spending time in the Word, spending time praying, and also going out and loving other people. Loving other people involves telling them about God. It involves helping them in any way that you possibly can. It involves praying for them. So, yeah, those are things that will matter in the light of eternity. And by spending time with God, God will show you, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing per time. And it might not always be directly spiritual, but it would lead to something that is, everything is spiritual, but it will link to something that will help you in your spiritual walk and so on.
So you guys talked about, relationship with God. right? Lifestyle and evangelism, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. So bringing it back to the scripture now, we have until then, there are three things that remain. Faith, hope, and love. Yet love surpasses them all. So above all else, let love be the beautiful prize for which you run. Right? The Bible verse just pop up in my mind right now, where I think Jesus or Apostle Paul was talking about, okay, how do you claim that you love God and you actually don't love your neighbor, right? I think it's Jesus, Sermon on the Mount, where he was talking about, okay, your neighbors, they were hungry and you did not feed them. They were shelterless and you did not give them shelter, and all of that. So I think the ultimate way to express our love to God is actually, more like loving our neighbors and loving the people around us. You said something? And yourself, because that's very, very, very also important, So this will be more like the end of our discussion. So, but rounding off, Ethan, can you read Genesis 6 verse 11, and you read Esther 5 verse 1?
Okay, Genesis 6:11 to 22. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch, inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door on the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under heavens. Every creature that has breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come with you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God had commanded him.
So the story of Noah is, one that I, actually love so much. One of my favorite story in the Bible. We know how the story goes. God gave Noah an instruction, right? And, to build ark, for him that, flood is going to come and destroy the whole world. And it's only the people that are in the ark that will not be destroyed, right? So Noah got the message out. And, apart from getting the message out, God gave him a particular instruction, very, very directional. Build the ark this way, this size, this volume. So the instruction was more like in details. And Noah actually paid attention to all the details God gave to him, right? But relating Noah's story to focus now, Noah was actually very, very focused in the sense that there was a whole lot of things to be distracted about. Is it from his negative neighbors to the people that didn't believe in him, to the people that said, oh, probably you are lying, you didn't hear God, and to the doubters and a whole lot of things. So there will always be doubters around. There will always be people that don't believe in your purpose and all of that. So that should never be a distraction in any form. So your business is the person that gave you the assignments, which is God, right? And that should be who you are focusing on, regardless of whosoever believes or whosoever does not believe. Just focus on the message that God has given you, the purpose, the assignment that God has given you. And, at the end of the day, it will actually be the person that loves last, that loves best, right? Cash.
So, Esther 5, 1 to 8.
On the 3rd day of the fast, Esther put on her royal robes and entered into the inner court of the palace, just across from the king's hall. The king was sitting on his royal throne facing the entrance. When he saw Queen Esther standing there in the inner court, he welcomed her and held out a gold scepter to her. So Esther approached it and touched the end of the scepter. Then the king asked her, "What do you want, Queen Esther? What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it is half of the kingdom." And Esther replied, "If it pleases the king, Let you and Haman come to the banquet I have prepared for you. Then the king turned to his attendant and said to him, tell Haman to come quickly to a banquet as Esther has requested. So the king and Haman went into Esther's banquet. And while they were drinking wine, the king said to Esther, now tell me what you really want. What is your request? I'll give it to you, even if it is half of the kingdom. Esther replied, this is my request and deepest wish. If I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request and do what I ask, please come with Haman tomorrow to the banquet I have prepared for you. Then I'll explain what this is all about.
All right. So we can see from the passage that Esther had a mission. Esther had a goal. She knew where she was going. She had a vision. And that was to save the Jews. But along the line, she got to the king's court and he began to offer her half of his kingdom. And he did it twice. So I'm sure it required a great amount of focus and self-control for Queen Esther to just be like, no, it's not half of your kingdom I want. I want you and Haman to come for a banquet at my house. So you can tell from the passage that Esther was focused. Esther went in with a plan, with a vision, and she executed that plan. And she saved the Jews because her mind was set on what she wanted to do.
Awesome. I think Esther's story is, one of the, very, very interesting story in the Bible. All right, so I've actually learned a whole lot from our discussion today, and the Bible passage. I'm not sure if it's the same for.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so moving on now. How do we actually apply all these things? Because we've actually said a whole lot, right? So how do we, more like bring everything back home and applicable steps that you can actually apply to your life and all of that. So we have a concept here called the KEEP concept. So it is more like K, I, and P. So K is for know what you want out of the day and actually understand what it will cost you to achieve it, right? So there's nothing like nothing for nothing, right? So knowing what you want, you have something you want, you have your desires, you have what you want to get done, right? There will actually be more like something you would, give in more like sacrifice for the things that you want, right? So you are sacrificing something for the things that you want. Not like, there's no free meal. Even in Freetown, there's no free meal, right? So the I.
So I is identify time wasters and avoid them. So once you know what you want to do, you have decided, okay, this is what I want to do today. You then block out time, or you decide, okay, this is what I want to do at this particular time. And by doing that, you will know, okay, I'm not going to use my phone during this time. I'm not going to have the TV on during this time. I'm going to focus on, for example, reading a book. You focus on it and be like, okay, I'm completing this task within the next maybe 1 hour or 30 minutes. And okay, this is what I'm going to do. And you push out everything that will stop you from being able to do those things. So you put your phone away, put it on airplane mode, give it to your mom, do something like that. You switch off your TV and you focus on what you want to do. So by doing that, you have identified the things that will stop you from doing those things, will stop you from doing what you want to do, and put them away, put them aside.
All right. So the last part of the concept KEEP is P, which is plan each day or plan ahead each day, prioritizing different activities. Be responsible with entertainment, adequate rest, which is very, very, very also important. So plan ahead each day, and the best time to plan a day is before the day, not during the day, because you can actually get carried away, with a lot of things. What I notice about planning a day is that, anytime I don't plan my day and I just go into the day like that, before you know it, it is 12 noon. Before you know it, it is 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., then the day is over, But when you actually plan the day ahead, you actually be able to get things done, in good time and all of that.
Yeah.
So priority is very, very important. We should plan our entertainment. We are not zombies, right? We are not zombies, and we're actually humans. And, we want to get entertained. We want to enjoy life, right? So you can actually plan.
The working... what works for you basically in planning your day, like how you plan your day basically. Some people like to plan their day like 6 to 7, do this, wake up by this, do this by this. And then for somebody like me, basically, I just note like the things I want to do during that day, and then work with it, make sure I finish it. Then after I'm done with all of them, then I can now have time to do other things, basically.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you?
According to how I want to do it. So like I normally make a schedule.
Okay,
Yeah,
schedule. Okay, that's very, very important. So plan your entertainment, plan adequate rest, and actually plan time for the main thing that you want to get done, right? So in conclusion now, above all, put God first by reading and meditating on His Word. Pray to know and understand His will for your life. All right, so that will be the end of our conversation today. And, the Bible focus is, what we'll be rounding off with.
All right, so the Bible focus is Proverbs 4, verse 25 to 27. And it says, "Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet. Stay on the safe path. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil."
All right, so thank you very much for watching and joining us today. We hope you've been blessed as much as we have been ourselves. So join us same time next week to meet again. Keep the fire burning. Bye.